Good evening, and you're all welcome to it. One of the best sessions that are in progress right now, and this is a special masterclass for you to introduce yourself to the comprehension program or comprehension techniques or strategies that will lead you to get through the preliminary examinations. So I would like to call it as a silver bullet in the sense that it's a remedy or a panacea for all those difficulties that you confront. So CSAT is inevitably the first hurdle that you have to face in your ordeal through the 4 different stages of the civil service examination. First is CSAT. It's simple, relatively simple. I mean, probably it is one of the toughest of all the 4 phases, I must say. It looks very simple, but it's the toughest. So you are at the right place at the right time, and we shall be discussing some of the intricacies or how to surmount this difficulty with the minimal effort and maximum concentration. This is what we know. You know, there are 2 papers. I don't have to explain it further, and you are familiar with that. And the first paper is 200 marks, 2 hours. Second paper, how many questions? 80 questions, 2 hours, 200 marks. But the second paper is more vital than the first one. And if you don't get through the second one, they may not consider the first one because they will be spending their time. That's how they have planned it. I mean, you know, UPSC is one of the most reliable exam bodies in the world. Their name has never been tainted by anybody. That's something very important. There are allegations against Prime Minister Modi, Chief Minister Pinarayi, but there's no allegation against the UPSC board. That's the reputation we have. That's our credibility. I mean, you don't have to distrust anybody. So this is the place you don't have to fumble. This is the place you will have to jump over it. And what are the avenues? What are the techniques? What are the strategies? That's something we are going to look at it. And this class is very vital because we call it as a master class because this will give you the key to how to open the treasure trove of CSAT. That's very important. Okay, so the second paper is more vital, as I already mentioned. 80 questions, and each questions carry 2.5 marks. Okay, so what's important is if I compete with PT Usha, I may also win. I may be also, maybe I can throw my hat in the ring and I can compete with her. But the problem is I cannot compete with her when it comes to the timing. The timing is important. I may be able to complete 100-meter race maybe within 2 minutes or 3 minutes, no problem. But the real test is how fast and how accurately you will be able to do the test. That's important. 8 seconds, 9 seconds. So that matters a lot. So remember, what matters a lot is fast, not furious, fast and accurate. You must be accurate, and there is minus marking. Minus mark, 33% of the mark will be deducted from your everything. So there is no guesswork. Okay, so that's very important, and the strategy is very vital. And if you falter here, if you don't get through the preliminary, then you don't stand a chance. You know, they won't let you in. Then there is one way of doing the second paper. That just follow and make sure you note it down, not merely listening by the right or going out by the left. What's important is my strategy to you. I mean, now that you are here on this platform with the Lead IAS Academy, I would like to remind you, the first strategy is you just do what you think is easy for you at the first go. You have 80 questions, start doing easy ones. There are 3 types of questions there. The easiest, the easier, and the easy ones. Okay, do the first one at the first go. If you think you are cocksure of the answer, do it, mark it, 100% sure. If there is an iota of doubt in it, don't attempt, just leave it. Okay, so the first, this is strategy. Strategy is more important. Okay, you must be accurate and fast and perfect. There can't be any error because it's highly competitive. Hundreds of thousands of students are vying for this position. So there is no place for second person or third person. There is place for only the first person. So therefore, what's important is the time is limited, 2 hours. Whatever you think is, when you look at the questions, you will be able to understand or you will be able to grasp the answer at the first sight. Okay, answer it if you're 100% sure. Then go over it again, start from the beginning. This is a strategy. You can try it out. Second is little more difficult ones. You go to spend about a minute or 1.5 minutes on it, then you do it. Okay, haphazardly, slowly, bit by bit. And there is, of course, the third category, which we have definitely got, is a bouncer. You don't know how to handle it. Only Sachin Tendulkar knows it. So that's the third category. So you got to do it. If you are quite sure, spend the remaining time. You don't lose much. You don't lose much. So never, ever start with the first question, then second, you don't know answer, then close your, put the lid on your cap, the pen, and then think, no, that strategy should not be adapted. Because you are doing so at the cost of the easy questions that comes, probably you might have been able to do the remaining ones. So I would recommend you to do the easy ones first. This is a strategy. You know, in the Usain Bolt, you know, how did he win one of the, the races? I saw it. He simply pushed his head forward. Although there are, you know, you are competing with the national athletes, people, candidates from other nations who have been practicing for years on end. And what makes the difference is maybe a fraction of a millisecond. Maybe the nose. Maybe the foot will be at the same level, but the nose is farther than your friends. Then you won it. Millisecond. So that's important. So I would like to divide the second paper into 3. First one, if you are cocksure of the success, if you are quite sure of the answer, go. Go ahead. 1, 2, 3, 5, I don't know. Okay, leave it. 6, 7, 8, leave it. No problem. Then go over it until you reach the 80. Then you have relaxed. You got maybe around 22 or 25. Okay, that's quite good. So far, so good. Then the second preference, there are tougher guys. Okay, it needs a little more time than the first one. Then do it. Okay, you spend a little more time. That's quite good. But there is another category which is very difficult for you. Then you got to spend a lot of time. Now you can afford it because even you know it, you can do it. If you don't know it, okay, leave it. That's the third category. So the best way is the most difficult ones should be left for the last lap of your journey. I hope you understand. This is a strategy. Don't share it with other people, you know. This is exclusive for Lead IAS. Because 1 mark means thousands of students will be leveled out. 1 mark is enough. Okay? That can make you, that can put you in or out. So therefore, your strategy must be yours. Okay? That is the first strategy I would like to share with you. Because I know all of you are good, or else you wouldn't be here at this stage. Fairly intelligent, hardworking, at the cost of so many things. You sacrifice your pleasure, your happiness, your studies, your health, your food, and all other entertainments. Appreciate it. That's quite good. But what matters, what makes you the winner is this strategy. What is the technique that you use? How to overcome the difficulties? Yes, then that's one. Then I would like to branch to yet another aspect of comprehension. There are many people who think, I've met many students, I've been teaching, I've been associated with the Civil Service Academy for about 7 or 8 years now. So what I understand is most of the students have a wrong notion or a misgiving that they have comprehension, English, we can do it, no problem. That's not the case. You may be able to speak, you may be able to write, you may be able to sing a song in English, but this is not what you are required here. Your strategy is comprehension. There are 3 levels of comprehension. I don't know how many of you are aware of it. 3 levels of comprehension. And you might ask me, on which level are you? You are the top level, means the most difficult one. Normally, when you appear for a grade 10, 7, 8 examinations, there is one level of comprehension called reading. We call it as reading. Reading for meaning. What is that? Factual comprehension. Factual comprehension. You don't have to infer, you don't have to rummage through the stuff. Everything is straightforward. About in the last hockey disaster, not hockey, hockey disaster, about 250 people perished in the coastal area. So the question will be, how many people perished in the coastal area? 250 people. You don't have to break your head. The answer is already given. That's called factual comprehension. Well, when you go to the grade 11 and 12, then the difficulty level goes higher. We call it as inferential level. It is not straight away given. You go to answer the inference. Inference means coming to a conclusion, taking into consideration the facts that are provided for you. That's important. Inference, nigamanam. That's important. Okay. You have to guess, okay, oh, since he is there, or since this happened, this could be the person behind it, this could be the reason behind it. That is something, even it is testing your intelligence, your critical analysis, your problem solving abilities, and your comprehension capabilities. But the buck doesn't stop there. It goes on to the next level. That's where you are supposed to be. What is that? Critical analysis. Then the terms vary. You are not, you may not get the straight answer. The answer is not given there, but you have to conjecture. You have to assume. What's the aftermath of it? What's the corollary? What's the logical conclusion? What's the message? All these things are important. So let's take a look at those words and understand those words. Then we shall be going, or we shall be looking at some of the, because I have many sets of questions with me, shall be doing a few. That's very important. So these things are very vital. The strategy is more important. I think the other day, probably, I don't know, when I was talking to some other audience, I said, when a person is given to cut down a fell tree, he has been provided with an axe. What's your strategy? He asked that man who is a tree feller. Feller means cutter. And he said, if I am given 8 hours to cut down a tree, I would rather spend about 7 hours sharpening the axe and 1 hour to cut down the tree. That's important. What's important is your method, your strategy. And that is what we have to gain from Lead IAS Academy. The strategy is more important. I know nobody is inferior here. Nobody is substandard. You are all intelligent. That is the reason you are here listening to us on this stage. So what's important is how you are going to do it. What is your strategy? How fast? That's also important. You may do 10 questions, 20 questions, 30 questions, wherever you get an opportunity, do it. And make sure you are fast and accurate, but not fast and furious. Okay? So fast and accurate. You must be fast enough and you must be accurate enough. Okay? Right. So let's be familiar with some of the vocabulary that you often get. Remember, never expect a straight answer. Never expect a straight question. The question will be a little bit dazzling, baffling, bothering you. Okay, the first word they use maybe assumption. You know, leader is, I think this institute has done a research really, I appreciate it. They have gone question by question, year by year, researching into the probability questions, and they have come up with that. Assumption questions take the highest number. Assumption. What do you mean by assumption? You speak. This is English. This is not history or economics. You can interact with me freely. So what is assumption? Assuming. There is no proof. You have to assume. Assumption. If this happens, this could be the outcome. That's it. Assumption. Meaning a thing that is thought to be true or certain, but not proven. Yeah. There is no literal proof, but you assume that in the present condition, if you implement this, if you start this, if you do this, this could be the outcome. That is your assumption. Assuming. ചിന്തിക്കുകയാണ് ഇതായിരിക്കും എൻ്റെ പരിണിത ഫലം. That's very important. So assumption questions take about 9%. I mean, more often it comes. So what is the assumption? Expectation. That's important. Analyze the meaning. Second word is that is often comes is logical. Logical. Logical meaning based on argument and reasoning. Based on argument and reasoning. Logical. Argument. Okay? You have to argue it out. Reason it out. Something that will substantiate your argument. You are not going on assumption, but here it is logical. If this is to be implemented, this could be the outcome of it. So you have a sound reason. So you must sound logical, sensible, meaningful. I hope you understand the meaning. So these words you will come across. And they may be even mix these words also to make it even more complicated. So the third level comprehension is the one that you are going to face, which is very important, very, very important. The third level is it's a mixture of critical analysis, problem solving, and what else? Inference, logical conclusion, message, anything, a mixture of all that. So this is to make you confused so that a sensible person could come up with the right solution. Okay, that's it. So logical, based on arguments and reasoning. The next one, the next word you might come across is rational. Rational. Rational means based on ideas and actions, based on reason. Rational. That's quite simple, I think. Rational argument. Based on reasons. It's not assumption, based on reasons. Because the writer has provided you with certain arguments. Based on that arguments, this could be the outcome. So you have to read between the lines. That's important. Okay? Right. Then the next word could be critical message. Critical message. Meaning relating to the judgment and analysis. Critical means you are analyzing things verbatim, letter by letter. You are going more accurate, specific, on the basis of the facts provided to you. So that is a critical message. And I have mentioned another word here, corollary. Seventh one, corollary. What is corollary? A natural and logical consequence. A natural and logical consequence is called a corollary. If you do this, if you apply this, something will happen. That is the result of that particular action. That's called corollary. So you must be familiar with this word. What does the writer expect? What does the examiner expect from you? Is it corollary or aftermath? Okay. So these words are to be understood first. And next, I have about 12 words. I have mentioned about 12 words while I was preparing for this class. Then plausible. The next one is 8. Plausible. 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 Plausible means seeming to be right. May not be right, but seems to be right. Plausible argument. Plausible reason. Plausible outcome. Plausible means seeming to be right. നല്ലതെന്ന് തോന്നും ഇത് തന്നെയാണോ എന്ന്. That's what we call plausible reason. So plausible means, and practical. There is another word, they may even team up with what is the plausible and practical outcome of it. Plausible means seeming to be right. Not necessarily right, but seeming to be right. So seeming to be right and the right thing are different. Okay, you must understand that. Seeming to be right, looks right, but may not be right all the time. Right. Next, number 9, I mentioned the word crucial message. Crucial message. Very important message. You know, when you analyze this kind of crucial message, even an auxiliary verb could change. I have come across, I have been analyzing the question papers from 13, 14, 15, 16 and downwards. Then even an auxiliary or a model auxiliary like should, may, can makes a difference. Should, തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും, may, ആയേക്കാം, can, കഴിയും. Even that such word could change your fate. So mind you, you must be completely, observant, 100%. There cannot be any error in your judgment. So these words is very important. Crucial message. What's the crucial message? Very important. Number 10. There are questions like best sums up. What sums up? How can you sum up the passage? What is the idea that is given? Summing up. What is the central point or core idea? C-O-R-E, core idea. That's called best sums up. Or even best reflects. What does it reflect? എന്ത് പ്രതിഫലിപ്പിക്കുന്നു? ഇല്ലേ? So there could be a question based on that. What is the പ്രതിഫലനം? Okay. What does it sum up? അതെന്താണ് സംശീകരിക്കുന്നത്? What does it consolidate? What does it amount to? So these are some of the things you must be familiar. അല്ലാതെ ഇങ്ങനെ blind ആയിട്ടിരിക്കാൻ പാടില്ല. So that's very essential. Should look blank. You must be grasping every point, every word. Even some of the, if you analyze, I've been training children for IELTS and OET examinations. When we have reading comprehension, we might say, when you read something, there is cause and effect. Cause and effect. Cause and effect meaning, if you introduce something, if you do something, that's an effect. If you get up early, what will happen? You will sleep early. If you get up late, you'll sleep late. So there must be a cause, there must be a reason, then there is a cause and results here. Action, reaction, in other words. So you have to analyze these situations. I would rather spend more time on the strategies today. I'm not very keen on making you do so many exercises. We have hundreds of questions with me. No problem. There's no hassle about that. But what matters is you must be prepared mentally and intellectually prepared for the test. It must not skip you. That's important. Okay. So the best some sub questions are there. What does it best reflects? Meaning the central idea. When you read a passage, make sure you glean something and keep it in your motherboard. Something is very important. When you read a passage, you must be able to sum up the idea in a sentence or two. Okay, the last one, maybe there are a couple of ones. Suggestions. Suggestions. What is a suggestion? What does it suggest? What does it recommend? What does it want you to do? That's suggestion. And then maybe some other miscellaneous question. Total, I have mentioned about 12 words. 12 different questions could come. Very important. The strategy is more important. How to prepare, the roadmap, how to go about it, how to solve a problem. Okay, when you prepare a dish, what do? You collect all the ingredients, cut up, wash it properly, cut up, and keep all the ingredients ready, and then you start cooking. It's not the other way around. Then you start cooking and then you look for the ingredients. That's not the case. So this is more important. Okay, then the second part of my lecture is there is 10 commandments, how to find out the answer, how to get the answer, how to go about it. So far, I have been talking about the types of questions. Now, how to find out the answer, strategies. I would like to call it as 10 commandments. Number 1, quick reading. You must not take much time. Gold is a precious animal, metal that is known for many qualities. No. You must create the habit of reading things fast. If you are a slow reader, you don't stand a chance. You have to be fast and accurate. When you read, right. You know, in English, there are 2 types of words in a sentence. What are they? Content words and lexical words or grammar words. Meaningful words and grammar words. So you have to concentrate on the meaningful words only. Don't spend your time reading, no. So you must be able to, you must cultivate the habit of reading the lines fast enough so that you will understand or grasp the idea and store it in your CPU. That's important. Not all the words play. For example, we have been teaching for about 45 years. Okay, so what's important? Teaching 45 years. Only 3 words are important. The rest are grammar words. So you must be able to speed up things. Time, you have only 2 hours. Each question should be completed within 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Shouldn't take more than that. You may be able to solve all the questions I gave, but you will take your own time. That's not what we want. We want you to be precise to the point within 2 minutes, 30 seconds. Can you do it? That is the litmus test, the real test. If you can do that, I'm sure you stand a chance. You stand a chance, provided you're accurate and the time is important. So the first habit is quick reading. And you know, I've been teaching language for many years. I don't teach literature nowadays. So I understand that when a passage is given, in the past, UPSC used to give you fairly big passage. Things have changed. And today, they give you even 2 lines, 3 lines, 4 lines maximum. But that makes give you a hell of a trouble because the questions will be not easy as you think. Some other students say, oh, comprehension, I can do it. It's easy peasy. This is not the case. The IQ level varies. So if it is 1 sentence, well, you stand really a risk. You know, the questions will be difficult. And you have to cultivate, the first commandment is cultivate the habit of reading the passage fast. Reading means retaining the content, the core point. The most important idea should be retained. You don't have to remember. And you may come across now, identify the keywords. Keywords. In a sentence, not all the words are important. Only a few words are important. Which are the keywords? Nouns, adverbs, adjectives, okay, determiner, the, a, this, then adjectives, nama visheshanam, describing words, adverbs, describing probably the verb, okay, nouns, etc. So these are some of the things you have to remember when you read. So observation is important. What's important, you take it. Just like nutrition. All the stuff that you eat do not go to your body. Only the vitamins, minerals, and other things will go. The remaining is rejected. Similarly, when you read a passage, and there is another technique. Every passage, well-written passage, will have the central idea in the first sentence. Have you noticed that? Yeah, remember that. Every well-written passage will have the central idea in the first passage, in the first sentence itself. So you must be careful when you read the first passage. We shall be looking at some of the questions before we leave you. So first passage, and I teach how to write a passage. Essay writing, that's the secondary part. It is, with all greatness, I say I was the first person to introduce language, communicative English in the academy. Until then, English was one, grammar. But grammar is different from writing and speaking. So these are two different genres. Okay, so you must be careful about speaking, reading, writing. Here we are going to read a passage. When you read a passage, the first sentence is called topic statement. Topic statement. Topic statement will definitely tell you what exactly you are going to read about. Which aspect of the passage or you are talking about a particular animal, or a particular problem, a particular independence struggle, or a uniform civil code, or maybe some other problem. And the passage will tell exactly which part of that particular topic is being discussed. So the first sentence is very vital. That holds the clue to the whole. Okay, the second, third paragraph probably will give you maybe cause, effect, result, opinion, message, etc., suggestions, recommendations that you have to think. So you must be quick enough to understand what exactly is the purpose of writing this passage. What's the purpose of the writer? What message does he convey? What does he want us to do? This is clearly given. We shall be looking at some of the passages, and if time permits. Okay, so that's very important. So quick reading, fast reading, must. And you will come across difficult words. Let me just give you one example. The paucity of funds forced the government to shelve the project. One simple word. The paucity of funds forced the government to shelve the project. What does it indicate? What does it mean? You may not come across shelf. You are familiar with the shelf, something on which you keep your books, but shelf means put it aside. And paucity, P-A-U-C-I-T-Y, what does it mean? I don't know. You don't know. What will you do then? Don't do that. Skip it. Then you have to puzzle out the meaning. Puzzle out in the sense that make out the meaning. What could be the meaning? Government decided to shelve the project. Why? Mafi fulus. There is no money. Shortage of cash. So paucity means, lean days. That's enough. Don't think of deciphering or the etymological meaning of the word. Forget it. You don't have to go to that extent. Make sure you understand the meaning of from the circumstance, from the sentence above, from the sentence below, from the words beside. Make out the meaning. Don't wait there because you are losing time. Your time is lost. I hope you understand. Okay? So such kind of these hitches will be there. You will be trapped there. Don't get trapped. Don't get bogged down by difficult words. Make out the meaning. You know what is in your level? When you reach the level of civil service examination, what matters is the central idea, the core idea. reading between the lines. What is implied there? Implication, core idea, central idea. These are some of the things you have to be. It is not the superficial idea that matters. It is, you are well beyond that level. Okay, so quick reading, then identify the keywords. Third, analyze the first sentence to know about the content of the passage. Analyze, so that will tell you exactly what the passage is all about. You will come across passages of diverse background. First passage may be about food safety. Second will be about sanitation. Third will be about women welfare or child welfare. Fourth one will be about psychological problems. Fifth one could be about any international issue. So no two passages will be the same, and never ever expect a passage will be repeated. This is the reason why we teachers would like to call it as a comprehension, as a what do we call it? Unknown passages. Because we will never come, we don't know. It depends on the whims and fancy of some of the outstanding professors, the best brains. They will choose, okay, they may read the Times of India or some other Washington Post, or they may, or even Indian, the Hindu. By the way, I don't appreciate that Hindu has any upper hand over other newspapers, never be under the false belief that Hindu is something, a hallmark for your civil service. Read all other newspapers, you will get to know different views and patterns. Read Times of India, Hindustan Times, Indian Express, read. So that you don't conform to a particular view. You will develop your own view. Individuality matters. It's not enough that Tangapan has done something, Kuttapan has something, therefore I have done the same thing. No, you don't make a difference. You don't stand a chance. So I would recommend you to be independent, unique. That's important. In order to be unique, you got to read all the newspapers. Get your own view. Individuality is important. You are a person, individual person. You don't have a replica. Remember that. So that's what UPSC looks for in you. So analyzing, understanding, so about the content of the passage. Fourth one is, do not waste time on difficult words. Do not waste time. Artis honorificably chudinitativus. Okay. Finihilibilification, no. Forget about it. Forget about all those things. You understand the meaning of those words from it. Next, fifth one is, get to the inner meaning or the implied meaning of the passage. Fifth one, inner meaning, implied meaning of the passage. Number 6, make inference and read between lines. Make inference. What does this writer wants to convey? What does he want to convey? What is he trying to iron out, or what is he trying to bring out? What's the purpose of writing this? Okay, so make inferences, read between the lines. It is not given superficially. What is behind it? What is the purpose of writing this passage? No, everything and anything that you do has a purpose. Why are you here? There's a purpose. Why do you eat? There's a reason, there's a purpose. So therefore, why that person has written an article on public safety or independence or history or economics or any other thing, there is a reason behind it. So therefore, advise you to get to the inner meaning. Then number 6, make inferences, read between the lines. I think you have written. Okay, number 7, summarize the idea. Summarize the idea. What does exactly, if you can sum it up, okay, what is the purpose? How can you explain the whole passage in one sentence? How can you explain the whole sentence in one sentence? If someone asks me, what is the core, what is the gist of the paragraph that you have read? You must be able to say, okay, this is it. It's about the Indian economy. It's about food safety. It's about, what you call the safety of the country, or the international strategy, current affair, or Indian foreign policy. Could be anything. So how will you sum it up? That matters a lot. Okay. Then number 8, understand the question properly. Yeah, question. If you don't understand the question, understand what does the question require you to do. Understand the question properly. Maybe very simple. What, when, why, where, reason, etc. Understand it. Okay. Then number 9, find out the purpose and meaning of the passage. Find out the purpose and the meaning of the passage. And finally, the last one, don't spend more than 2.5 minutes on a passage. That's my request to you. Okay, you may spend more time, but only at the end. When there is no other alternative, then you try. If you can get it, okay, that's well and good. These are some of the techniques that you have to adopt. And I hope you are familiar with the paper 1 and paper 2. I'll just quickly go through maybe a couple of minutes. Paper 1 will carry 2 hours, 100 questions. Current affairs, current events, national and international affairs are there. Then history of India, in the Indian national movement will be covered there. Then geography, Indian and world, okay, you're familiar with that. Then Indian polity, governance and constitution, public policies, rights and issues, etc. Number 5, economics, social developments, poverty, inclusion, demography, social sector initiatives, etc. Number 6, environmental ecology, biodiversity, climate change, etc. And number 7, general science. So these are some of the areas you can express the questions from as far as the first paper is concerned. Now the second paper matters entirely different. Second paper, the major hurdle is comprehension. About 20-25 passages will be there. So comprehension. Number 2, communication and interpersonal skills. Communication and interpersonal. Number 3, logical reasoning and analytical ability. Okay. Number 4, decision making and problem solving. Number 5, mental maths. So these 2 aspects, mental maths and comprehension, if you are good at it, you stand a chance. Basic numeracy, that's level 10. And they say that level 12 until the difficulty will be up to level 12, but it will be definitely beyond that. So this is the texture, or rather the makeup of the paper. And shall we go down to 1 or 2 questions? Okay, right. Yes, I have about 30 questions, and you have a copy of that, I hope. Okay, right. Who will read? And you know, when I teach maybe, I mean, wherever I go, I advise you to use the passage, especially when you have a lot of time, when you prepare for the civil service examination, you get time. So I advise you to learn use the passage as a means of improving your language as well. You will come across vocabulary, phrases, idioms, sentences. So you learn new things so that you can apply these things to all the essays or all the papers that you attempt. Okay, who will read the first one? Read out. Anybody? Yeah, read. Open. Flow.
Read the following passages and answer the questions that follow them. The answer must be based on the passages. We know that natural existential risk is very low for humans because they have sustained themselves for over 2,000 centuries. But with the development of nuclear weapons, we enter a new era, which in my writing I call the
Precipice. Okay, that's right. Anyway, speed over here. You are good at reading, but reduce the speed. English low pitch level on that. We know that the natural existential risk is very low for humans because they have sustained themselves for over 2,000 years. Speed on the here. Don't go like super fast express. And then we learn a new word, precipice. That's an idiomatic expression. The system is on the precipice, means you cannot go no further area. അവസാനത്തെ സ്റ്റെപ്പിൽ വന്ന് നിൽക്കുകയാണ്. On the precipice means you cannot go further, at the dead end. That's the meaning of precipice. Means there is no further development. There's no further growth. You are at a standstill. That's what I mean by precipice. Okay, that's the word meaning. It's mentioned that we have attained the power so great that we may be able to destroy ourselves. What does it talk about? You have read it. The first sentence, we are not after, I mean, I'm not very much after the answer, but I am after how you are going to approach or handle this question. The first sentence clearly specifies what the passage is all about. We know that the natural existential risk is very low for humans. It talks about the existential risk, means can we survive? Yes, because we are at the top end of the food chain. Nobody is going to eat us. But we eat chicken, we eat goat, we eat camel, etc., etc. So existential risk is minimal when it comes to humans. We can survive even in spite of all the pandemic and other things. We have medicines and we have the shots, and we are able to survive. So existential threat is minimal when it comes to Homo sapiens. That is the key factor. That is the key. Okay, it talks about what? നിങ്ങൾ ഓപ്പൺ ആയിട്ട് സംസാരിക്കണം. I want you to be, the class to be interactive. Don't be like a, no, you must interact with me.
Hello, sir.
So that's communication. Okay, so what does the passage is all about? Forget about that. It talks about the existence of human beings, and we are least threatened. Many other animals who live under us are often threatened, are more threatened, and they don't have their longevity. Okay, so, and over 2,000 centuries we have survived, but with the development of nuclear weapons, what is the threat? Yeah, it talks about there is one potential threat, that is nuclear weapons. We entered a new era, which is in my writing, so it is taken from a report. In my writing, it's a precipice. Precipice in the sense, that's right, you are at the extreme end. Precipice in the sense a protruded rock that is branching or protruding into the sea. Means if one walks up there, then it cannot go any further. That's the end of it. Means no further. At a standstill, a dead end. Malayalam or English, we are at the dead end. So that's the meaning. So now the question. Okay, please read the question. What
is the message the writer wants to convey?
The question is simple. Message. Message. Underline that word. We are not after the question. I'm not after your answer. I want you to be familiar with the way the questions are put. Well, we will have a test later, maybe sometime, maybe in March or February, April, we may have a test. But until then, you keep doing and analyzing or ways and means of tackling this problem. That's what I want you to do. So this says that the only threat that humans, Homo sapiens, face is a nuclear threat. And what does he say? Look for the word. I call the precipice. If only you know the meaning of the word precipice. I call the word precipice. It is mentioned we have attained the power so great that we may be able to destroy ourselves. So precipice means something that will definitely put an end to your existence. So you don't have to know the meaning of precipice. Precipice is a good phrase. You can use it in your economic or other what you call papers. On the precipice, it's a good phrase. Means no further growth, a dead end. So that should never happen. In economy, it must be always mobile, dynamic economy. It should not be a stationary. A stationary economy is always stagnant. It doesn't do any good to us. That's what is happening now on account of the pandemic. We are not able to generate money because money is with certain people in certain pockets. It doesn't help others to benefit from it. So money has value only when it changes hands. I hope you understand. I'm not teaching economics, but this is the basic principle. Okay, so it's on the precipice. Now the question, what is the message? Okay, let's take a look at the 4 options there. You know, these optional questions, 4 options. 2 will be absolutely unrelated. 2 will be somewhat related. And of the 2, 1 will be the answer. So let's look for that. So don't waste your time on unexpected or something that is not relevant. Okay, let's look at it. Humans have overcome. Okay, read please.
Humans have overcome many challenges for thousands of centuries, and they will continue to do so in the future as well. What should be the
Okay. Now, okay, let's analyze the questions. Okay, what does it say? Humans have overcome. We have faced or confronted many difficulties, and similarly, in the same way, we shall overcome this as well. Does it talk about that? You have to contain your idea within the passage given here. Don't bring in your knowledge, mind you. You have to answer to the question according to the ideas or passages given here. You may be better informed, or maybe you may be able to write more than that, but that doesn't apply here. So what's important is humans have overcome many challenges. So what we have been overcoming, we have Black Death, Spanish flu, and so many things. We have overcome it. But what's important is that's not the question that is being discussed. So be precise. Number 2, yes, please.
option B, the chance of human beings having
Yeah, reduce the speed. The chance of human being. Don't be fast.
the chance of human beings having total annihilation is very important.
Okay. The chance of human beings heading for total annihilation. Annihilation means destruction. H is silent. Annihilation. It is written annihilation, but H silent. Annihilation means you can use it. So we learn new words. On the precipice, we learned a new phrase. You can say the economy, particularly in the aftermath of the pandemic, is on the precipice. You get a better idea. Who is teaching you economics here? Good. That's good. So try to get the idea, and you are better brains. Because I may be good at a few words, but you are good at many things. You are better than I am. Seriously. Yes or no? Yes, absolutely. So there's no qualms about that. I may be speaking good English, but I got a sorry figure when it comes to history or economics. So, but you are able to do more. So therefore, have confidence in you, and let's do that. The chance of human beings heading for a total annihilation is very remote. No, that is irrelevant. He says that with the invention of nuclear weapon, we stand a constant. We are on the precipice of destruction. That's right. And then number C. Well, keep reading.
Option C, drawing attention in this book, this and its prophetic observation.
No, it doesn't talk about attention, or that is nonsense. I would like to call some other word which I don't use it, because since I am going here, Number 4.
Option B, the end of man's existence on the earth is a possible reality, the invention of weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah, that sounds sense. What do you say? Some of you are looking. Keep the hands down. Okay. So be active and be a part of that. Okay. The end of man's existence on earth is a possible reality with the invention of weapons of mass destruction. Americans call it as WMD, weapons of mass destruction. WMD, terrible. And we are being now targeted by China. This is a biological weapon. Yeah. Chemical weapon used by Saddam Hussein. And now we are being facing another music. What is that? Biological weapon. Yeah. Okay. Right. So what's the answer? D. Quite good. Okay. Who will read the second passage? Anyone? Good.
How far India goes in realizing its billion plus traits over the next decade or two will be determined by how well it nurtures the physical well-being and mental potential of its people, particularly its children. If one has to pick the single greatest thread that blocks the promise of this invasion at the foundational level, it has to be arguably night vision.
You see? from nuclear weapon to malnutrition. See the passage, it varies. So you must be prepared. You will be taken to task by the examiner. So it's different. So how far India goes in realizing its billion plus dreams over the next decade, and that's, I'm reading it so that you'll be able to pronounce it further. This will help you to face the interview if God graces you, so that you have to be proficient, good at your language, confident, and using the right word, choosing the right word, and expressing it, and telling them, this is I know, this is what I know, this is what I do not know. That also counts. So don't be afraid. Okay, so how far India goes in realizing its billion plus dreams over the next decade or two will be determined by how well it nourishes the physical well-being and the mental potential of its people. Physical well-being and the mental potential of the people, okay, particularly its children. Okay, now it talks about food, and how is it going to help feed the nation. If one has to pick the single gravest thread that blocks the promise of this young nation at the foundation level, it has to be arguably malnutrition. So malnutrition is the biggest threat underdeveloping countries are facing. Malnutrition. Okay, now, okay, read the question, please. Yes, see the word. The most logical corollary. You understand that? Logical means based on reasons, based on the facts given here. Okay, corollary means consequence, outcome, the aftermath. ഇങ്ങനെ സംഭവിക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ എന്ത് പറ്റും? That is a logical corollary. Okay, go on, please.
India should make sure the physical and the mental fitness of its people are stable and strong.
Is it right? It's off the track. It doesn't talk about that. The writer is talking about new malnutrition, and especially that the people should be taken care of properly. It doesn't talk about mental fitness and the people, etc. Okay, that is totally out of the race or irrelevant. Okay, next one.
Physical fitness should be given more importance than mental fitness.
Does it talk about that? No, not at all. Okay, move on that.
Option C. India should meet the basic need of a balanced diet for its young people.
Okay, India should meet the basic need of balanced food. That's, I mean, in order to avoid malnutrition. Basic food. C is the answer. That is the answer. But still, let's look at the fourth one as well.
Indian children are in constant need of food.
Oh, it doesn't talk about that. We are not in constant need of food. Okay, yes. Third one, please. Next one. Yeah, please.
Most crucially, the rapidly growing COVID-19 case numbers, alongside the continuing relaxation of restrictions, are creating an atmosphere of fatalism mingled with false optimism that undermines effective use of non-pharmaceutical interventions such as masks and physical distancing. The epidemic in India is far from over, with a potentially huge burden of mortality to come, unless public health measures are used and adhered to. Without clear and honest communication of the risks of COVID-19 to the population, stemming the epidemic will be almost impossible.
Yeah. What does it talk about? നിങ്ങൾ വായിച്ചല്ലോ. What exactly? It talks about medicine or some other care? Non-pharmaceutical interventions. It doesn't talk about antibiotic or some other chemicals. It talks about non-pharmaceuticals. And what's the new word that you have come across? Stemming the epidemic means stopping. Yeah, stemming the epidemic. You see the new words, how they used it. Number, in ordinary sense, you might use that stopping. So you could stem the tide of, stem the further tide of epidemic. So think of improving your language. Think of improving your language. Forceful language. Use appropriate language. Along with facts. Facts must be there. Figure must be there. principles must be there, but that should be expressed in good language. Okay, right. Okay, that's something we have. Undermines effective use of, undermines the false optimism. Okay, the sentence says that most crucially, the rapidly going COVID-19 cases alongside the continuing relaxation of restrictions are creating an atmosphere of fatalism. So now we are getting used to this kind of a lifestyle. Now we say, okay, come what may. I'm not going to, just as I do, I don't wear the mask. So I leave everything to God. So if I am destined to die, let me die. That kind of fatalism is different, okay? Undermines the effective use of pharmaceutical interventions, non-pharmaceutical interventions. I mean, pharmaceutical intervention means only when you are affected, then you take medicine. But non-pharmaceutical means taking the precautions so that you won't be attacked or affected. That's right. That's the theme. Okay, please read the questions, please. I mean, answers.
Which is the most logical and rational inference that can be derived from the
Passage above, which is the most see the words, which is the most logical and rational. Logical based on reasons, rational based on facts. Okay, inference, nigamanam, okay, that can be derived from the passage. It's a very difficult question. They have put everything into one, you know. Okay, now let's read the answers, please.
Option A, easing of restrictions, leaving everything to fate and not resorting to effective primary measures, will certainly undermine all the efforts of the authorities.
Does it talk about leaving all the precautions? No, it is warning against that. Okay, so therefore A is out of the race. Okay, move on to
Option B, effective and timely use of non-pharmaceutical measures can reduce the spread of COVID-19 immediately.
effective and timely use of non-pharmaceutical measures can bridle. Maybe it has some point. Okay, keep it there. Next one.
Option C, the outcome of the pandemic will be much more catastrophic if the impending danger is not complete and the safety precautions are not implemented.
That sounds even more sensible than the previous answer. That sounds more sensible. Okay, correct. Next one.
Option D, the euphoria followed by the relaxation of COVID-19 restrictions will lead to a more catastrophic eventuality.
Possible. So what do you think is the correct one? C. C seems to be a better answer. Mortality, that's right. The euphoria follows. There's no euphoria. There's no phoria. Euphoria means a happy feeling that we have survived. No, there's no such feeling. So C seems to be the right answer. Okay, correct. Who will read the next passage? 4. Anybody? Everybody has to participate. Read out. Be bold and go for gold. You have to be bold enough. Yes, next. Well done.
Like the custodian, we are roaming the world searching for money. But that, like everyone else, in the past 2 decades, we have spent $373 billion on imports of gold. Smuggled gold and jewelry worn by the travelers will take that amount beyond $500
billion. Yes, thank you. Okay, it talks about our decisions, you know. Everybody, why do you study? Why do you want to further your education? Why do you want to get a good job? And good job will fetch more money and you will get better alliance, and that way you get a better lifestyle. So these things are basically the role. So like the Kasturi Mrig. Kasturi Mrig means musk deer. You know, musk deer has a habit. Musk deer survives in the foothills of Himalayas. It sniffs around because it likes that musk smell is really very fragrant. You know, it's quite enticing, appetizing. But this poor animal doesn't know that musk comes from within. Okay, that's it. So like the musk deer, we are roaming the world searching for money. You don't have to roam around the world. We go to Canada, we go to England, we go to America and New Zealand. And what for? Money, money, money. But money is here. Okay, that's what it says. In the past 2 decades, we have spent 370 billion for the imports of gold. Okay, then smuggled gold and jewelry worn by travelers will take that amount, 500 billion. Okay, now the question, please.
Which one of the following could be the most logical interpretation of
Okay, which one could be the most logical interpretation? What do you sensible interpretation of the writer? Okay.
one? There is a parallel economy that remains untapped in the nation.
There's a parallel economy. Economy alla. It's pronounced economy. Economy. Echo means economy. There's a parallel economy remains untapped in the nation. Let's talk about that. Well, not quite sure. Let's move on.
Almost half the money is in the form of unrecorded loans.
Maybe almost half the money is, it says that about for travelers will take about no amount beyond 500 million. Okay.
Three, borrowing from other industries will strengthen the domestic economy.
What does it say? Borrowing from other agencies could strengthen the domestic economy. Does it talk about that? Irrelevant. Number 4.
The higher the investment in gold, the better the economy.
The higher the investment in gold, the better the economy. Okay, now we have a different question, A, B, C, D. What do you think will be appropriate? 1 and 2. C is the answer, correct? You hit on the head of the nail. Huh? So I'm sure that there will be a couple of civil servants from Lead IAS Academy this year. Okay, right? Who will read the next one? Yes, please, go ahead.
About the concern among parents over how kids will be globally competitive, the minister said, the world has embraced the use of local language while imparting education. Even the UNESCO proposes that countries should revive the local language among the millennials. So, while nothing is being imposed, the educators need to explore and embrace the transformation with an open mind.
Okay, what does it talk about? The importance we have to pay to the local language. In fact, there's a trend that we all appreciate English, French, Russian, etc. We hardly take care of some of the languages in India. Okay, that's the theme. Okay, what's the question?
The minister calls the UNESCO to support his view.
You see, there's not much confusion about it. The minister courts to support his view. His view is that, what is his view?
Okay. Mother tongue should be given more importance while teaching young children.
Mother tongue, okay.
The educational policy makers are free to choose their own local mediums of instruction for those who were born towards the close of the year 2000. C. The UNESCO gives educators freedom to choose a common global language for kids to prepare for the examination.
Okay, that's mentioned. Okay.
Educators should formulate their policies with an open mind.
So what do you think is most appropriate? Mother tongue should be. Mother tongue, I don't know. About the concern among the parents over how kids will be globally competitive, the minister said the world has embraced the use of local language. It doesn't talk about mother tongue. C is the answer. Yeah. See, educational policy makers are free. The UNESCO gives educators freedom to choose a common global language for kids to prepare for their examination. Common global language. Okay. Educational policy makers are free to choose their local medium of instruction for. Yes, B is the answer. Correct. That's right. Global language is not. A not necessarily local language need not be. For example, we speak Hindi, it's not our mother tongue. That is another meaning. So that is one going against option. So the second one, educational policy makers are free to choose their own medium of instruction for those who were born towards the close. That is irrelevant. So the contest between is C and D. The UNESCO gives educators the freedom to choose a common global language for kids to prepare for the examination. What do you think?
In the document, basically it says that it's highlighting the importance of local languages.
Local language, that's right.
So basically it's reviving the local languages, and with the minister puts it, UNESCO proposes that the country should revive their local languages among the millennials.
That's right.
Basically, it's local languages, basically, it eventually means their mother tongue.
Mother tongue.
So, and since the course basically, and here the minister
Okay.
suggesting the
Okay.
substantiation that the UNESCO suggested. What will be the more apt option?
Okay, because C is a global language, it doesn't represent that. Okay, so you are right. A mother tongues should be given more importance while teaching. Option B, the problem is education. Yeah. Educational policy makers are free to choose their own local medium of instructions for those who were born towards, it doesn't talk about the age and other things. Millennial, language among the millennial, born towards the close of the year. Educational policy makers are free to choose their own local medium of instruction for those who were born towards. I think B seems to be a better answer, you know. Towards, that's right. Yeah, you're right. So I think of all the four answers, B seems to be the closest. I mean, it fulfills the answer in the following way. First of all, free to choose their own local medium of language. And it also says that they were born towards the close of the year, millennial, it mentioned. You are right. Yes, millennial. Yeah, since it mentioned, yeah, among the millennial, that is the word I think that will support 1,000 years, 2,000 years. I think B will be, I think B is the right answer. Okay. We can choose B. Of all, that's what I, okay, thank you. So B seems to be the answer. There could be a difference of opinion, you know, I won't disagree with you because there must be close arguments. So I would appreciate the B, because education policy makers are free to choose their own local media of instruction for those who were born towards the close of their year 2000. So among the millennials, it talks about the 2000 years, you know, those two factors are, forcing me to choose answer B. Okay. Well, that's what I think. B could be a possible answer to that. Number 5. Number 5B. B is the answer. Okay. Right. Number 6. Other? Anybody from this side? Yeah, please. Read it.
The internet is therefore portrayed as allowing education to take place anytime, any place, and at any time. Any commentators extend these figures to transcendence of social and material disadvantage of the internet policy as inherently democratizing use. They need to support freer and fairer educational interactions and experiences seem to reflect the internet underlying quality as radically democratic zone of infinite connectivity.
Okay. Connectivity. Reduce the speed. Okay. And emphasize. So the internet is therefore portrayed as allowing education to take place anytime, any place, and at any pace. and material disadvantage with the internet perceived as an inherently democratizing medium. Okay, the ability to support freer, fairer educational interactions and experiences is seen to reflect the internet's underpinning qualities as a radically democratic zone of infinite connectivity. It talks about the influence on the role of the internet. Let's take a look at the answer, please, now.
Which of the following is the most logical and rational inference that can be deduced from the above passage? The internet
Logical and rational inference, that's right. Yes. The internet.
is becoming a more popular and common platform than even before.
Okay.
The internet is instrumental in laying a foundation for democratic education and interaction among the people. The internet would lead to social and ethical disintegration in the long run. In spite of all the disadvantages of the internet, it can still serve as a tool for change with unlimited interaction among the people.
What do you think is the answer? In spite of D. Okay. B, no. Which of the following is the most logical and rational inference that can be deduced? Deduced means deducted. Okay, coming to a conclusion from the passage. So what does it talk about? The ability to support freer and fairer educational interactions and experiences is seen to reflect the internet's underpinning qualities as a radically democratic zone of infinite connectivity. The ability to support. 6. Okay, what do you think will be the most appropriate one? Rule out the unimportant ones. A and C. The internet could lead to a social and material disintegration in the long run. Is it correct? No. Above possibilities B and D. Okay. Now let's just concentrate on that. That's, rule out the impossible ones. That's the best way. If you don't think that this doesn't stand a chance, remove it and don't concentrate on that. So B and C, let us look at the B and D. The internet is instrumental in laying a foundation for democratic education and interaction among the people. Okay, agreed. Then what is the fourth one? In spite of all disadvantages of the internet, it can still serve as a tool for change with unlimited interaction among the people. Underpinning qualities as a radically democratic zone of infinite connectivity. D is the answer. D, correct. Correct. Next one, number 7. Anybody from here? Come on, you have to involve, please.
It must create opportunities for mutual control students by being a enforcement of digital literacy. It is a process of learn and share, which means that the teachers should learn first and then share it with such students. For the application of this kind of teaching in the classroom, teachers need an institution that supports and encourages
Okay. Okay. Right. It's we have moved away from the internet. We have come to teaching. Okay. A teacher must create opportunities for himself and for students by being at the forefront of digital literacy. Again, talking about digital literacy. It is a process of learning and sharing, which means that the teacher should learn first and then share it with his or her students. This doesn't happen. Teachers never learn, They assume that they know everything, but they know nothing. For the application of this kind of teaching in the classroom, teachers need an institution that supports and enables them to do their work in the changing world of technology. That's good. Okay. Question, please. The best explanation. That's the question. Okay, good.
themselves abreast of the emerging technologies in their own field.
Yeah, that is a possible answer. Teachers should keep themselves ahead. Because when I teach you, I must know what I am supposed to teach you. If I do not know, then I am no more a teacher. So that means a teacher has to upgrade himself. That's it. Correct? That's the point. Then.
Teachers who do not upgrade themselves will gradually become outdated.
Does it talk about that? It doesn't talk about that. Okay. See.
There is a systemic need of a separate division to train the teachers on digital technology.
Possibility. Yes, next.
Inability to pick up digital literacy would cause teachers job problems.
It doesn't talk about that. So what do you think is the possible? A and C. Yes, 1 A and C. Excellent. Okay, we have now, shall we do one more and finish? Okay, right. Yes, who next? Yeah, volunteers, please. You can differ, no problem, because backbench. Yes.
While skill training is actively promoted by government partners in the private sector and industry.
Industry, okay.
It is not an inspiring career choice among the youth. This perceived as a fallback option rather than mainstream career choice. So much education still remains the top choice for many young people. This bias is also among employers who pay higher salaries to
Henry level engineers.
compared to experienced workers who have undergone vocational training. Therefore, along with the issues relating to the capacity, quality, and employability, attitudinal factors about how skill training
Is perceived.
by both potential trainers and employers need to be addressed.
So, what does it talk about? Entry level students, they get better pay, not skilled workers. In fact, if you go to Western countries and other places, they value skill. What you are good at, that's important. It's not your qualification that matters. If you are good at doing something, then you are valued for that. Okay? Right. Question, please.
Based on passage above, which one of the four options given below is the most crucial?
Yeah, the most crucial message, the most important message. Okay, right.
One, skilled employees enjoy better pay and early placement.
Does it talk about that? Skilled employees enjoy better pay? No, not quite right. Okay.
Two, though the government is keen on skill development, the private agencies do not support it.
No.
Three, one educational qualification alone does not mean one
Competent. Competent for a
profession.
Yeah, one's educational qualification alone does not make one competent. That's the tragedy here. We are after the English alphabet, MA, PhD, etc., etc., but they know nothing. We have seen even vice chancellor writing, committing mistakes. But maybe as a clerk may be able to express better than the vice chancellors, That's so what it matters is it's not the skill. I mean, it's not the qualification or the university qualification that matters. It's the skill that's important. Okay, that's right.
Both employers and employees need to focus on skill development rather than on educational qualification.
Yes. So what do you think? C and D. 1 or 2? 1, 2, 3. Yada. None of the above. Based on the passage, which one of the 4 options given below is the most crucial message? Which one? C and D, D, A, B, C, and none of the above cannot be. So, C and D is possible. C means one's educational qualification alone does not make one competent for the profession. One's educational qualification alone does not make one. That's implied. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. One's educational qualifications alone does not. Educational qualification. It's not reflected. Competent for. But I think educational qualification does not, it makes a negative remark, does not make one competent for a profession. The skill has to be taken care of. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so what do you think? None of the above. Both employees, D only. I didn't get you. A, B, C, D are there. One. Number 8. Number 8, C and D. One's educational qualification alone doesn't make one competent for a profession. That's implied. Then D, both employers and employees need to focus on skill development. C and D are the possible answers here. You know, entry level people are getting more salary. That means skill is not, considered there, not considered there. Okay. So once educational qualification alone doesn't make one competent. I think that is the meaning implied there. Okay. 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 Okay.
So their qualifications making them competent there.
Mm.
They are getting the higher salary.
Okay.
That's what it is contradicting the statement.
They've never, like, nowhere they've told that, like, educational qualification, like a defect or anything, like, competency, or they're never mentioning that in the past, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as the whole statement says to promote skills regularly.
The skills are considered based on the experience one should be getting higher salaries.
Skill training is actually promoted by the government and its partners in the private sector only. Just a minute, please. It's an aspiring career choice among the youth. It is perceived that a fallback option rather than a mainstream career. Formal education still remains the top choice for many young people. The bias is always also seen among employers who pay higher salary to entry level. I mean, those who don't have a skill. Yeah, that's right. Compared to the experienced workers who have undergone vocational training. Yeah. So therefore, along with the issues relating to the capacity, quality, and employability, attitudinal factors about how skill training is perceived by both potential trainers and employers need to be addressed. So both employees, employability, attitudinal factors about the skill training is perceived by both potential trainers and employees. C and D. Yes. No, that's what I. Both employees, it is, see, D is already stated there. Both employees and employees must be, focus on the skill development. That D is there.
The option is making for preference of skill over education.
Yeah, that's right.
In the passage, it's never saying skill should be above education. It's saying both should have a harmonious coexistence.
Okay, so what do you think is the answer? Option D. It's not none of the above, because the number 4, it talks about both employers, and the last sentence talk how skill training is perceived by both potential trainers and employers need to be addressed. Need to be addressed. That means both of them should be considered. So 4 must be, D must be there at all costs. And then what is the contention now? C. A and B. Skilled employers enjoy better pay and early placement. No. Though the government is keen on skill development, the private agencies do not support. Does it talk about that? No. So C and D is the only possible answer as I see it. One's educational qualification alone doesn't make one competent for a profession. One's educational qualification alone does not make. So I prefer, this is my version, you may differ, but I have gone through, I sat and I decided, well, you may have different opinion, but I would recommend C and D. That is A, number 1 is the answer. Crucial message.
Here, if you look at the central idea of the option, the third option will come. So in crucial message, we should take the central idea also. That's what you're saying.
The central idea should be, you should consider skill and education.
Skill and education both.
That would be the crucial
Message.
That's what we are looking.
Based on the passage above, which one of the 4 options is the most crucial? So D only, both employees. So what do you think, your opinion?
Sir, option B for
B.
Yeah, this is based on the passage.
Though the government is keen on skill development, the private agencies do, but
It's only four.
That is none of the above.
Both employers and
Both employees and only 4. I mean the D, you mean? Yeah, okay, that's right. Okay. Oh. Yeah, maybe 2. 2 in, that is according to the question, the 2. Possibly, you may. That's right, D. D only. Both, that is there, that is paka. Both employees and employees need to focus on skill development. That's right, you appreciate it. That is, I mean, rather than being divided, we can come to the single message. The question is, based on the passage, which one of the 4 options given is the most crucial message? D. Yeah, that's right. Correct. No matter how informed or how educated you are, at times, there could be difference. Good, well done. So D could be a possible solution, because the question clearly states that which one of the 4 options is the most crucial message. Yeah, I got it. So finally, you have won it. Thank you. So D. Okay, right. Okay, so shall we call it a day? Okay, now I would like to have your comments, please. Yeah. Was it beneficial? How far? Could you please tell, one of you can stand up and say a few words? Critically analyzing the classes we have. Yes, anybody? Those who have not spoken or those who have spoken out. The floor is open. Yes. Quick. No time. I'll give you a couple of minutes. Okay.
I used to think that I could do comprehension very easily.
Uh-huh.
But after getting this class, I know I have something which I overthink and I would make it wrong. That's it. I got something clear.
You fought well. You argue well. That's quite good. That should be the mental process that you have to adapt. Don't be submissive. Don't accept the facts without conferring. You have to argue it out. I could be wrong. I don't say that I am 100% perfect, because I'll be looking at it from a different angle, but you will be looking at it from an entirely different angle. And she got it right. Absolutely right. Yes. Others? One or 2 comments? Yes. Okay, right.
But there are these certain things like with word, maybe that use or not, which makes it really like that's not top process. So yeah.
Okay then, right? Thank you very much. Good night.
I remember your face.
Interpersonal.